And hello, my good people. We are back here on Facebook Live for the second portion of today's show, my birthday bash show, October 21st. Very proud to be here with you on birthday number 35 and counting for me. And I'm so grateful to be doing what I love here on my birthday morning. With that being said, myself and Mike Sofka, you see his fantasy football bust right there. Myself and Mike bringing you fantasy football week 7 advice inside of the, not a, not one of, but the Fantasy Football Power Hour, brought to you right here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. We appreciate you hanging out with us and being here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and appreciating and being with the Wildcat Sports Pub and supporting them now more than ever as we all get through this difficult time, and we will get through this difficult time. With that being stated, let's bring him on to the broadcast. Mr. Sofka, how you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, Dan. How are you? Happy birthday.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it very much. I know that you sent me a message here, and I got to rock through these messages and see what I got from Mr. Sofka. I'm actually going to, I'm looking through some of these right now, and I appreciate them very, very much. I will get to everybody, as I always do. You have my promise that I will reach out to all of you. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate all your messages, so thank you. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be doing what I love on my birthday, so it's great. What?
Hey, quick question.
Yeah.
I know you tell me you're in New York, and as everybody knows, I'm in Florida, and I'm sitting here, drinking a big glass of orange juice. Are you sure you're not in Florida? Because you guys were crushing the orange on that previous segment. Jeez.
Listen.
Man, oh man.
Listen, brother. You have to tell the truth, and that is me. You have to tell the truth. You cannot shy away from the truth. And the truth of the matter is, Syracuse is they're just not when you have to talk about a Syracuse game and say, are they going to cover the spread and it's 46? There's more of a chance that they do that than it is that you're like, oh, okay, well, I think they'll lose by 45. Maybe not 46. Well, if this happens and they sit their star, I'm talking about this team sitting their starters, Clemson sitting their starters, and then having to justify, if they sit their starters, that Syracuse may not lose by 46 points. That is not what I want to do in talking about a Syracuse game. I want to talk about their chance in the game. I want to talk about the reality that they could win the game. I'm not talking about lines of the game, but I have to. I have to literally sit here this morning as a grown man and decide, Mike, if this team is going to lose by 46 or less, but no question of whether they're going to win or lose, just how much they're going to lose by. That is not something that I want to have when I'm talking about Syracuse.
It's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Sorry you have to deal with that.
Yeah, well, I am too, Mike. Laugh while you're drinking your Mai Tai, whatever. But I'm happy to be here this morning with Mr. Sofka. We got a lot to get into, a lot to unpack. Mike, before we jump into Week 7 of fantasy football for the NFL, any notes, anything on your mind, anybody coming back that you're thinking about, anything that really sticks out to you right now, the notion that the Cowboys could be making a play for a trade and finding another quarterback at this point. What's on your mind right now?
Yeah, there's been a rumor that I picked up on earlier in the week here that the Cowboys may actually be interested in Sam Darnold. And, that could, tie into the Jets possibly with another quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, maybe a tanking for Trevor thing. But I'm just telling you what I heard. I'm not trying to perpetuate things, but one of the biggest things that jumped out to me this past week was the San Francisco team, the Niners. I don't understand which team I'm going to see week to week. Raheem Mostert, is he going to be back? Jermichael Hasty taking off the practice squad, the undrafted rookie out of Baylor. He looks like a hot commodity this week. He'll probably be running the ball. So there's just a lot of activity, a lot of stuff. I'm anxious to get going here. I'm excited for this week.
Yeah, very excited to bring you this inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour. So let's jump right into it. And like I said to everybody here, we're going to be putting these lineups together as it happens. I wanted to do it like that because I like kind of mixing and matching and moving things around the screen. And at the same time, I also like the fact that Corona has caused us to do, well, I don't like it, But the reality is that Corona has caused us to do this round robin thing where it's like take this team and put this team here and put this team there and move this team there. So it gets a little bit interesting when it all shakes out, and how we have to look at the NFL and how they've already had to switch things around. But what we do know about the NFL is that no matter what, they are going to find a way to play the games. That's something that we do know. So, Mike, with that being said, we're going to jump into Thursday Night Football. And as you see it assemble on your screen, we are also going to be discussing it. So let's jump into it. This game is so disrespectful to have right after my birthday. The Giants at the Eagles. Mike, what do you have for this?
Yeah, I just got done saying, hey, I'm real excited about this week. I'm looking forward to it, and then I got to start off with this game. Are you kidding me? I might watch the presidential debate instead of football tomorrow night. That's how disgusting this game is to me. I don't see any value in watching teams that could win a division and host a playoff game with a 5 or 6 win record. And we talked about this preseason, and I'm glad we gave our projections because I really thought, I was like, wow, I'm being a little hard on the NFC East. No, it's that bad, folks. I feel sorry for people up in the Northeast that are still in lockdown and that are... Anyway, I'm going to jump into it here. Daniel Jones, I can hardly play any of these guys here. Daniel Jones, number 25 on my ranking. Devonta Freeman, where would this team be without him? He's number 19 on the running back rankings this week. Darius Slayton, if he comes back, he's still dinged up a little bit, but he might be as high as number 24 on my rankings. Golden Tate, 57. Evan Ingram, 15. Jumping over to Philadelphia, this is where the one or two bright spots are. Carson Wentz, number 10 on my rankings this week. Miles Sanders looks like he's dinged up again. He might be out a week or two here. So Boston Scott, again, might be the guy. That's scary, but he's number 21 on my rankings just because of the sheer volume he's going to get, especially in PPR. He's going to get those short passes. As banged up as they are at wide receiver, they may get Deshaun Jackson back this week, but Travis Fulgham's come out of nowhere like a rocket. He's 28 on the wide receiver rankings. Zach Ertz is hurt. He's injured. He's going to be out a little while. Now he's getting a second opinion as well. So they told him not only is he going to be out for a while, but he's ugly too. No, the guy that I want you to run and check your waiver wire for, because a lot of people were impatient with this, and a lot of leagues don't have the flexibility that some leagues have put in place, like extra IR spots, extra bench spots. There was about 20 to 25% of leagues that I noticed, not leagues that I'm participating in, leagues across the systems that I've noticed, that Dallas Goedert was a free agent. He was on the waiver wire, so I hope you got in on some of that this morning. Go check, see if he's still out there because he's buried. And with Zach Ertz being hurt now, it looks like Dallas Goedert's coming back now. That is a prime matchup against a weak Giant defense. I got Dallas Goedert, the number 4 tight end this week. So he and Carson Wentz are the lone bright spots in reality in this game. Jeez, I hate to pick a winner. Maybe I could pick another tie for these guys. I'm going to have to take Philadelphia just because they're at home. Both teams are horrible. Both teams are injured. Both teams have problems up and down. I'll go with Philly.
Yeah, I mean, these teams are so... I mean, this is just such an ugly game. It's just gross. I can't believe that it's the game that, like, you had... I mean, you don't have to watch it, but it's the only one that's on. And that's the thing that makes me upset, is I'm like, this is it? This is what we get? Like, this is how it's going to be this week, but it is, and that's the situation that we're in. So as I round robin and pull these teams and move these teams around for you, as you're looking at it on your screen, I will also pull some double duty here and talk about it. For the Giants, I don't see any way, shape, or form that, this team is going to be able to do a lot of great things this season. They're playing Philadelphia, so, I mean, that helps out, but who do they have? Devonta Freeman and Evan Ingram are the two guys that I would look to, and then as far as Philly goes, Boston Scott, he comes up. Corey Clement, who's been a forgotten man there. Maybe he gets something, but I don't think he's worth putting out there fantasy-wise. There's really nothing. I mean, Deshaun Jackson, how about this? He made a great re-debut, a second debut when he came back to the team. And then what happened after that? He got hurt last season. And then what happened after that? I mean, he's been hurt. He's stayed hurt. And that's the unfortunate part of all this is that, there was that homecoming and that happiness and that excitement that maybe something could work out and maybe, he could be something special to the team. No, that's not happening. He's injured. He's out. It doesn't look good. It looks ugly. And it's really unfortunate to see what Deshaun Jackson, because I thought he was a breath of fresh air. I thought he was maybe some light coming to the team, and that's not what's gone on. And we are where we are right now, and where we are right now is not a great place and not a great footing when it comes to Philadelphia. And I don't like what I see on the field by either one of these teams. The fantasy value, like I said, there's not much of it, but if you want to take a chance here and there, like I said, there's a couple guys. It's really Devontae Freeman and then Boston Scott. And then outside of that, like I said, and Evan Engram is hard to keep on your bench. So you can look to that in this game. But ultimately, it's just an ugly thing. I'm going to give it to, honestly, I think the Giants are going to win the game. I don't know why I think that they're going to bounce to another one. But there's something about catching on a little bit. And there's something ugly about Philadelphia. I'm going to give it to the Giants. But I don't like this game in fantasy or reality. Detroit at Atlanta, Mike. What do you got?
Oof, I don't like either defense, that's for sure. This is a situation where this is actually helping your fantasy prospects because of the defensive play is so porous on both sides of the ball. Atlanta's got a lot of value across the fantasy board. You could actually play in a daily fantasy situation and pick just about all Atlanta players and do well. And it starts out with the big man, Julio Jones. Julio Jones seems to be back now. Calvin Ridley and he are both top 10 receivers this week. Julio Jones, number 5. Calvin Ridley, number 7. Hayden Hurst finally showed up again last week. He's number 9 this week on the rankings. Todd Gurley, number 9 as well. And Matt Ryan, number 6 this week on the rankings. And because Atlanta has a porous defense, especially that back end, Matt Stafford's going to light it up a little bit. He's number 11 on my rankings. Kenny Golladay should be back to full force at number 4 on the rankings. Marvin Jones chipping in a little bit at 61, but don't get me wrong, it's going to be a pass fest. They're going to get T.J. Hawkinson involved some more again. He's been having an okay year. He's number 8 this week. And there's going to be a true committee situation here with Adrian Peterson ranked 31, DeAndre Swift 24. But I think DeAndre Swift is your touchdown man there. So, for whatever that's worth. Now, the Lions can say, oh, wow, we beat the Jaguars, but the Jaguars have been playing really bad. And Atlanta, with the coaching change, it's miraculous, the things that can happen after a coaching change. All of a sudden, you go out and you beat the Vikings on the road. So I'm going to think that Atlanta at home, a little more momentum, a little more talent across the board offensively. I think that's the difference in the game. I'm going to take Atlanta.
Yeah, in this matchup, I'm going to agree with you, and I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons as well. Just because of the fact that, Detroit beating Jacksonville says more about where Jacksonville is than it says anything about a Detroit victory, in my opinion. I mean, Jacksonville is just, and I don't want to take away from Detroit, but I just don't think, I don't think that the Jacksonville Jaguars are beating a lot of teams right now. And so, as much as I would have hoped to see that they could at least handle Detroit, they didn't, which shows me where they're at and not a place where I want to see them by any stretch of the imagination. So it's unfortunate, but it's a reality in Jacksonville. For Detroit in this matchup, Detroit does have fantasy value despite the fact that things come in up and down and around the corner. DeAndre Swift, you pick a terrific week to wake the heck up. I've had you out there, believed in you, kept you on the roster, thought about getting rid of you this past week, and that's when you come out and you have yourself a fun day. I should have known because you're playing Jacksonville, but I thought AP was the guy. So I'm not sold on either one of them or what to tell you to do, but if you got them both and you have to play them because somebody's off, maybe you got Baltimore and you got some guys off this week and whatnot, because remember, the bye week this week includes Indianapolis, Miami, Minnesota, and Baltimore. So if you're in a situation like that, maybe you can play them both and put one out as a flex, Adrian Peterson and DeAndre Swift, just because Atlanta doesn't play defense. Kenny Golladay is also another one to look to on this team. TJ Hawkinson, I think, could have a potentially good game because he's playing Atlanta. He hasn't been overwhelmingly wonderful in fantasy by any stretch of the imagination, but this could be an opportunity for him as good as any. Matt Stafford, temper your expectations. I still think he's a quarterback too, but if you could play two, play him because he's playing Atlanta. And at the same time, I mean, I don't think he's going to be terrible. He's not the guy that's going to wow you, but getting you 30 points or something like that, if that's been working for you, then that's somebody to look to. Matty Ryan's going to be throwing it all over the field as well, so he's another one to look to. I put him as a low-end quarterback one. Todd Gurley to put out there against Detroit. I don't anticipate a ton from Gurley. I put him as a running back two because he's either going to have a fantastic day where we're going to see all these highlights, or he's going to get stuffed. I don't think he rides somewhere in the middle, at least not in this game. Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley are both worth the play as well, and Hayden Hurst, though he's been quiet, is still a guy to look to at potentially doing something for you. I have him as a tight end too this week. I am taking the Atlanta Falcons at home in this matchup for the upcoming game this week in Week 7 of the NFL. So with that being stated, and Hayden Hurst did score a touchdown in the game against Minnesota, so that is worth noting here. Mr. Sofka, next game on the docket is the return of a game that we already saw this season. We're going to see it again already, and that is Cleveland and Cincinnati. This time they're in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow almost got the win the other time when it was 35-30. He's now coming back to it already knowing what it's like to win in the NFL. What do you have for this one?
Yeah, the battle for the Rust Belt. Yay! Look, Cleveland got shellacked last week by Pittsburgh. They actually faced a real team. And the Bengals, they snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. I don't know. Look, at the end of this game, if the Bengals should lose, pay attention to the camera work at the end. If not, you'll catch it on ESPN or NFL Network. They always cut to a shot of Joe Burrow on the sideline after the defeat, and he looks like he's got that lip puckering, and his eyes are watering up, and he's just, like he still doesn't know how to handle losing. And that's what a lot of people got to understand. These guys are usually very talented athletes, leading their teams. They're talented teams. They win championships. They get to the pros, and everybody's fast. Everybody's just as good as you are. Everybody's got a better defense than you do. So it's just horrible. So watch for that Joe Burrow's moment at the end of the game. I don't think he's going to have that moment at the end of this game, though. I'll go ahead and say it. I think Cincinnati's going to win this game, and I'll tell you why. Because Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow's going to rise to the occasion, and Joe Mixon, I think he's going to be okay. A lot of people were jumping out, I'm going to pick up Giovanni Bernard. I don't think you want to do that to yourself. I think Joe Mixon is going to be okay. As a matter of fact, he's the number 7 running back on my ranking this week. Joe Burrow, number 8 quarterback. Tyler Boyd leading the wide receivers at 13. A.J. Green showed up last week. I haven't seen this guy in years. He's nothing more than number 44 on the ranking this week, though. He needs to show me that effort 2 weeks in a row, but he did have 11 targets last week. T. Higgins, number 29 on the wide receiver rankings, and desperation play of Drew Samples, number 24. Cleveland's got a little bit of value, and their value is in Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt, I got Kareem Hunt number 4 on the running backs this week. Austin Hooper, number 12. And I got Odell Beckham, maybe a wide receiver 2 for you. Jarvis Landry, a wide receiver 3. Rashard Higgins, nice to see him showing up. There's a rumor that David Njoku's on the trading block and that some teams may actually be pursuing him. I know this was something we talked about in the beginning of the year, and I know this is something that deflected. He came back, he played well, then all of a sudden he got hurt, so now he may be back on the block. I'm going to go ahead and take Cincinnati here because I think Cincinnati is going to dominate.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, Mike. I'm going to take Cincinnati in this game as well. I thought they had him on the ropes last time, and it was another shootout, as it typically seems to be. It really doesn't matter who plays, who the coach is and who the quarterbacks are and, who the personnel in general are. Cleveland and Cincinnati in recent history seem to just run up the score on each other and get into the 30s. I think this time around, Joe Burrow's figured out. He's a smart guy. He played at LSU. He'll figure out a way to edge that and shorten the gap and get a victory this time around instead of losing 35-30. Maybe it's 38-35. Maybe it's 30-28. So I have Cincinnati winning this game. On Cleveland's side of it, Baker Mayfield's banged up here. He's questionable with a rib injury. That would put Case Keenum out there. Kareem Hunt is worth the play in the matchup. Dearness Johnson is worth the flex. Odell Beckham is worth the play. Hard to keep him off the field, but he is not consistent. Jarvis Landry, he's a flex guy in my opinion. Right now, wide receiver 3. Austin Hooper, also worth the play in this game, but I still think he's a low-end one. Potentially a high tight end. I would say he's a tight end 2. David Njoku, like Mike said, looking for a new home. On the other side of it, I like Joe Burrow in the matchup. He's been getting me some good points in my fantasy. I like T. Higgins in the game as well because T. Higgins seems to be one of the guys that he can help. A.J. Green got some season highs with Joe Burrow, so he's worth the play in this one as well because, like I said, it's one of those games where both teams are going to score and score probably often and up in the 30s more than likely, in my opinion. Mixon has a foot injury. If he's unable to go, then we could look at the fact that Giovanni Bernard will get an opportunity, or Samaje Perrin would have an opportunity, Perrine, whatever it is. Samaje would have an opportunity to go out there and do his thing, and so we'll see, but I don't think that that's worth a play. I think the value lies in Joe Burrow, A.J. Green, and T. Higgins, in my opinion, and maybe a Drew Sample in a game like this. So once again, Cincinnati is who I'm rocking with in this one. Mike, before we take a step aside here, we got a few more games to go here in the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly brought to you by the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. And if you would like to stay home or you're social distancing, whatever it may be, you're having a party at the house, you can always call them for curbside pickup, takeout, and delivery, 315-487-2222. Pittsburgh at Tennessee, we were supposed to see this game weeks ago. We're going to see it this week. What do you got?
Yeah, Tennessee. I mean, that was some game last week against the Texans. The Titans and the Texans, and Romeo Crennel makes a call to go for 2 late in the game. Tennessee comes back, ties the game because Crennel missed the 2. I don't know what the math was. I don't have that conversion chart in front of me like these guys supposedly do. Then Tennessee wins the coin flip, and you could see it in Deshaun Watson's face. He was like, well, this is over. And sure enough, Derrick Henry marched him right downfield, and they scored a touchdown to win. And we talked about the Steelers dominating Cleveland earlier. I think Tennessee is a good team. I think both of these teams are good. This is the game I'm really looking forward to this game. Tennessee, it all starts with Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill's the guy that they can count on. Ryan Tannehill's a number 14 quarterback this week. That Pittsburgh defensive front is fierce. But Derrick Henry, that's where they're really led. Number 5 running back on the ranking, and Jonnu Smith is having a heck of a year. Number 6 on the tight end rankings. A.J. Brown, number 25. Corey Davis, Adam Humphries. I can't really play these guys at all. Going over to the Pittsburgh side of the ball, Pittsburgh's got some talent, and that talent's James Conner, number 8 running back on the rankings. And just like Pittsburgh has a formidable defensive front, well, Tennessee's defense can get after the quarterback. Quarterback Ben Roethlisberger, nothing more than number 17 this week. Eric Ebron's the number 11 ranked tight end for us this week. And Chase Claypool, look out, the adjusted explosive index king for this year, 2020, finally got his shot on the field. Now, let this be a testament to everyone, because without the preseason, without a big build-up to these games, and without the time and the training camp and the rookie camp that these guys needed to get their noses in the playbook and get familiar with their surroundings and their teammates, it's been a slower curve on rookie players. There'll be teams out there in your league that have gotten impatient with these rookie players. Keep your eye on the waiver wire for some of these rookie players. We talked about Chase Claypool a couple weeks ago, and bam, here he is. Number 18 on the wide receiver rankings. Juju Smith, I don't know what your problem is. I don't know what's going on there in Pittsburgh for you, but you're number 37 on the rankings. Deontay Johnson may be back this week. Look, this is going to be an awesome game to watch. This game could come down to a field goal either way. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh on the road doing some damage in Tennessee.
Yeah, this is a really good game. This feels like a playoff game. Tennessee is 5-0. Pitt is 5-0. Let me repeat myself. Tennessee is 5-0. Pittsburgh is 5-0. I wouldn't anticipate Pitt being 5-0 necessarily, with Big Ben coming back and them trying to find their footing again. I trust in what he can do at quarterback, but I didn't anticipate that it was going to catch on to 5-0. In Tennessee, I thought they'd win the division, but I didn't see them at 5-0. I also said that Indianapolis would vie for the division with them, and they're 4-2 right now, even though they started off very slow. Houston and Jacksonville are both 1-5 in the AFC South, just to make some note of that. So with that being stated, as Mike has gone with Pittsburgh in this game, this is a tough one for me. So I'm going to make you wait for it and find out who I'm picking in this. But let's go to the fantasy side of things. I like Big Ben in this. James Conner, obviously. Chase Claypool is worth the play and the nod. I picked him up last week. Very happy that I did that. Eric Ebron, worth the play too, but he's a low-end 1, high-end 2 at tight end. Juju Smith-Schuster, Mike's right. What are we writing home about when it comes to Juju? Somebody that really needs to step up and command this offense. I mean, for Chase Claypool owners, if he doesn't, then good for us. And if they're able to use them both, because I think Big Ben, obviously, he can spread the ball around. That would be good to see. Juju's been quiet. He had 2 catches for 6 yards on 4 targets in the 38-7 win over Cleveland. James Conner looked good. Claypool led the team in receiving yards. James Washington scored. So James Washington is worth a flex for you. I like playing Chase in this game. Juju, it's hard to keep him off, but he is a wide receiver 2 now, not a 1 because of what's going on. He keeps it up. He's going to keep falling down that list, and I know that fantasy owners aren't going to like that. He's on one of my teams, and I am not happy about it right now by any stretch of the imagination. Ryan Tannehill, I wouldn't play him in this game. If you have 2 quarterbacks, then yes. If you have Lamar and Ryan Tannehill, well, then you have to, and it's not a bad day. But I don't think it's going to be a great day fantasy-wise for Ryan Tannehill. I have him as a quarterback, too. I like Derrick Henry in the matchup. A.J. Brown is worth the play as well. And with Jonnu Smith being hurt, that puts McCole Pruitt out there as a potential option for you, and Anthony Ferkser. I think Anthony Ferkser is worth, if you play in 2 tight ends, he's not a bad one to put out in this game, but ultimately I am going, this is so tough. See, this, to me, I don't think Ryan Tannehill is going to have a great day, but then they have Derrick Henry, and I know that Big Ben sometimes is, in the moment, he gets it done, and sometimes he doesn't. I'm going to pick Tennessee in this game. I mean, it honestly came down to the wire. It came down to this thought, this second, in this moment. I'm going to pick Tennessee. Mike's picking Pittsburgh in the game. Next one up, Mike, we have Carolina at the New Orleans Saints. We have a divisional game for the NFC South. What do you have for this?
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting game. Saints coming off a bye. And by the way, I'm going to be writing a piece for the website here based on the Michael Thomas situation because, excuse me, I'm going to challenge Roger Goodell in the NFL, and I'm going to challenge them on many fronts. And I'm surprised the gambling community, the fantasy football community hasn't stepped up to this. But if you remember back in week 6, or before the bye, okay, in week 5, we thought that Michael Thomas might have a chance to play, and he didn't have a chance to play, and it came down to the last minute. And the reason they gave for not letting him play in the game was because he got in a fight in practice. Not because of a health issue, because he was questionable like his tag, but because of a disciplinary problem days before. That tells me you knew all along he wasn't going to play, and you have a responsibility to disclose. This isn't New England. You can't put everybody out there on the injury report. I'm going to be challenging Roger Goodell in the NFL and putting a word out in the fantasy football community that that's a load of garbage. We deserve better than that. So the Saints are back this week. Carolina, heartbreak loss. Teddy Bridgewater had a chance to win the game at the end of the game last week against the Bears, who I think are paper tigers, pardon the expression, but I think they're a phony. I don't understand how their record shows what they're not that good a football team is what I'm saying, and the Panthers should have won that game. Neither here nor there. The Panthers are a good team, but they're missing their guy. Well, they're not missing them too much. Christian McCaffrey, of course. Mike Davis stepped in, taken over. They've hardly missed a beat in the running back or in the passing to the running back situation. Mike Davis getting it done. Number 6 running back on the rankings this week. DJ Moore, number 23. Robbie Anderson has showed up this year. Every game he doesn't disappoint. He's number 11 on the wide receiver rankings this week. Ian Thomas, number 31. I can't play him. Teddy Bridgewater, he's more of a game manager type. He can win the game for you. Or like last week, he could lose the game for you at the end of the game. He's number 18 on the rankings. Going over to New Orleans, Drew Brees has struggled a little bit in recent years. I think it's time to hang him up. Drew, sorry to say that. I have you on some dynasty teams as well. I'm just not seeing it. Carolina has a formidable defense, but I got him ranked 21. He can hand the ball off. And that's what he's going to do because he's got the number 1 running back in the league in Alvin Kamara, number 1 on the rankings this week. And Latavius Murray is going to get some timeshare. He's going to get some touches as well, number 30. And he may even get some goal line touches if you're in a touchdown-only league. But again, number 30 on the running back rankings. Michael Thomas. Normally he'd be number 1, but I'm concerned about his usage. I'm concerned is there some sort of love-hate thing going on with the coaching staff and him now? I know Michael Thomas and Drew Brees were on opposite ends of things socially at the beginning of the year. He's number 16 on my wide receiver rankings. Yes, I know I'm going to get some heat about that. Don't at me, folks. Don't at me. Jared Cook, number 17 on the tight end rankings. I'm going to have to go with the home team here in New Orleans.
Yeah, this is a tough game, and it's Teddy Bridgewater's return to New Orleans after leading the team with Drew Brees being out injured last year. So shout out to Teddy Bridgewater coming back and not doing a bad job in Carolina. I would say, in this matchup, Teddy Bridgewater's got something to prove. So he is a low-end 1, high-end quarterback 2, in my opinion, in this matchup because of who he's playing and because, obviously his talents, but also who he's playing milks into this. I like Mike Davis in this game as well. Shout out to my guy PJ Walker, who came from Temple, who I covered there, who went to the XFL and has now risen to 2nd on the depth chart over Will Greer. Loving that. So I appreciate that so much. Christian McCaffrey's expected return is soon. They were saying that it would be this week, and the hopes of him returning would be this week. But the notes right now is he's expected to miss the game with the Saints. So just so you know, depending on where you go to get your information, you should be coming to us. But what the reality of it all is with Christian McCaffrey, he's expected to be out. So Mike Davis worth the play. DJ Moore, I like him in this one. Robbie Anderson as a flex, and I'm not really sold on any of the tight ends in Carolina. I haven't been all season. Alvin Kamara is worth the play in this one. Flex for Latavius Murray is something to look to. And Traquan Smith and Emmanuel Sanders, they're wide receiver 3s, in my opinion. If Michael Thomas plays and he's out there, then, he's wide receiver 2, low-end 1, high-end 2. But I don't expect a lot. And because I don't expect a lot, and I know that people play up for certain games when they go back and see the teams they're playing, I'm picking Carolina, because New Orleans has been a letdown this season, in my opinion. So I'm going with Carolina in this matchup. I think Carolina's done a nice job. They've hung in games, and even when they haven't won, they've still been competitive. So I like them in this matchup. Buffalo at the New York Jets, Mr. Sofka. What do you got?
Yeah, this is not going to be a fun game for Jet fans. And I don't know how there can still be Jet fans with Adam Gase just ruining this organization. I just think the Jets didn't do themselves any service by bringing him in after Miami let him go for not performing well. This is just a bad situation. Now they're talking about maybe trading a quarterback. Le'Veon Bell was jettisoned from there. Just a bad situation all the way around. If you have Buffalo Bills on your roster, just go ahead and play them. Josh Allen, number 3 on the quarterback rankings. The running back situation is going to be more of a timeshare with Zach Moss being back in the fold. Zach Moss going to continue to get more touches. Devin Singletary, number 20. Zach Moss, number 39. Stephon Diggs, the guy's amazing. The guy's a beast. Number 3 on the wide receiver rankings. John Brown, Cole Beasley, they're like emergency flex guys. They're ranked in my 40s. And the Jets. Let's go over here and look at the Jets. Maybe Jamison Crowder, number 14 on my rankings. Frank Gore, number 34. And look for the continued emergence from Lamichael Perrine, the rookie out of Florida. See if they continue to get him some touches. There's a possibility we'll see Sam Darnold this week. No matter which quarterback, they're going to be at the bottom of the rung at 28 on my rankings. So, again, I don't need to tell you this point in the season. If you have some Bills, start them. If you have some Jets, don't. I'm going to take the Bills.
Yeah, I think this is an easy one to pick. I do want to get to a couple questions really quick here, Mike. First one that came in to us. Let me go back to it here. First question was, based on the rankings, would you play Mixon over James Conner? I said if you got both, you should play them both. I think Mixon has the better matchup, but I don't bet against Conner was my reaction. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's funny because those guys are really close. I got them ranked number 7 and 8 respectively. Joe Mixon over James Conner. Joe Mixon 7, James Conner 8. It'd be interesting to see if that person has a flex or the opportunity to play them both, because I would surely do that. Not many times, unless you're using my draft program, my draft. If you're using one of my draft sheets, you're going to constantly have running backs and wide receivers in the top 10 every week, week in, week out. You're going to have 2 running backs in the top 10 week in, week out. You're going to go, how did this happen? This is how it happened. You could have both these guys on your team. So, yeah, I would play them both.
Yeah, and obviously, like I said, I'm in agreement with that and wrote that back. As far as it says, it's a decision every week. Davis, Mixon, and Connor. It's a PPR and PP carry league. Can only start 2, no flex. So he wanted to know where we would put Mike Davis. I would have Mike Davis obviously below the both of them. I think he should just go Mixon and Connor. I think this is an easy one.
No. I got Mike Davis slightly.
Okay.
Yeah, I got Mike Davis slightly ahead of both Mixon and those guys are 6, 7, and 8. So here's the deal. No matter which one you pick to leave out, that's the one that's going to go off. That's the one that's going to have 150 yards and 4 touchdowns. So maybe put all 3 names in a hat and pull one out and throw that one in the trash and play the 2 that are still in the bowl. I mean, I got Davis, Mixon, and then Connor.
Okay, so Mike says, well, hey, listen, to Greg, he's in my fantasy league up here in Central New York, and so I know that he's a part of what we do up here. Greg, you're smart, okay? You got a really good problem to have. It's like, dude, it's like you having the 3 most beautiful, most compatible women that you can invite to prom. You're not going to lose no matter who you choose. So I would put Mike Davis below Mixon and Connor. Mike has Davis slightly above them. So it's up to you, but, you have a very good problem in your life, and I'm sure a lot of people in the fantasy league would love to be Greg right now. So, Greg, shout out to you for the very, very smart draft that you were able to put together and the moves that you were able to make and what you did with Mike Davis with probably picking him up as the season was going on. So it's up to you on this, but I would say that Davis is below him. Mike says that he's just a little bit above him, but ultimately you're going to be all right no matter what. He said that he's laughing, so told you it's a tough decision and a good problem. Yeah, it's definitely a good problem to have on your side. Getting to Buffalo for me, Buffalo and the Jets, I would say, obviously I'm picking Buffalo in this game. Mike is too, as Mike had stated. I don't think that that's a difficult one for us to pick. I said that either Buffalo or Kansas City was going to be 0-2 in the last 2 weeks, and I said that I thought it would be Buffalo, not because Buffalo's bad, but because I think Kansas City's better than everybody else in the country right now, at least for right now. I really like Seattle. I like some things that Green Bay's doing, but, I got to stick with Kansas City, calling them the best team in the nation as I did going into the season. So, the reality of it all is that stays true. Buffalo 0-2 in their last 2 games, but, outside of what they did against Tennessee, which was really nothing, 42-16 was very uncharacteristic. They lost a close game at home to Kansas City. Now they have the opportunity to tell the Jets how they feel about what it's like to lose, and I wouldn't want to be the Jets right now. You're the 32 out of 32 teams. I said that in the preseason. It holds true now, 7 weeks into the season. And the reality of it all is you got a really pissed off Buffalo coming into town, and they don't have to travel far. Josh Allen, Devin Singletary, my man Zach Moss is back. What up? Stephon Diggs, John Brown, even Cole Beasley as a flex. Have some fun this week with the Buffalo Bills, and I would suggest you play their defense and special teams as well. We're looking at Sam Darnold is questionable for this game. The only play, as I told you before, I said it 2 weeks ago, I said it last week, and I'll say it again. The only play, in my opinion, for the Jets when you want real fantasy value is Jamison Crowder. My buddy Evan's been playing him, and he has not disappointed. So that's what I will tell you. Buffalo in a big one. Dallas at Washington. Dallas is currently first in the NFC East, which is somebody's going to win this division with 6 wins. They're going to win this division and host a home game at 6-10 potentially right now, which is revolting. Dallas is in first place somehow. They are 2-4. Philly's in second, 1-4-1. The Giants 1-5. Washington 1-5. Combined 5 wins in 6 weeks. Not even as many wins as weeks in the NFL. What do you have for this as Dallas takes on Washington with a combined record, Mike, of 3-9?
Yeah, again, the pathetic NFC least. I don't even want to talk about these teams or these games, but there are a couple bright spots. One of the bright spots I was on Washington. That's Terry McLaurin, number 8 on the wide receiver rankings this week. Antonio Gibson, the other bright spot, number 17. But if you're in a PPR league and you need a stretch, you need emergency flex, J.D. McKissick is, of course, the guy, 29 on the rankings. And Kyle Allen didn't look too bad against the porous Giant defense. Well, Dallas has got a porous defense as well, so he's going to put up similar numbers to last week. He went 31 of 42, 208 yards and 2 touchdowns. He should have a similar output. And Dallas, I'll just say it, Zeke, you got to hold on to the ball, my man. You lost that game for your team. I don't want to hear how Andy Dalton is sorry. I don't want to hear how the defense is. Yeah, the defense is suspect. But let me tell you something. You looked horrible, my man. You need to concentrate on holding on to that thing, holding on to that rock. You need to walk around with that rock all day, tucked under your arm, and like they do in college when you have a fumbling problem, you walk around with that rock on campus, and if somebody knocks the ball out of your hand, they get rewarded, and you're running stadium bleachers. Ezekiel Elliott, even with the fumbleitis, I think he's going to bounce back from that. He's number 3 on my running back rankings. Amari Cooper, number 20. CeeDee Lamb, number 30. And Michael Gallup, number 48. Dalton Schultz, number 16. Andy Dalton, we've talked about him in the past. We talked about him being that Mendoza line type kind of guy in years past. Here he is again, Mendoza line guy, number 15 on the rankings. And let me tell you, put this in perspective. I'm not saying he did a great job in this past game, but with the talent around him, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Ezekiel Elliott, I'm an old guy. I could rank number 15 with that talent around me. I don't see how they lose this game with that talent around them either. I'm going to take Dallas.
Yeah, and you know what I think is crazy is I said like 6 wins could happen here for one of the teams in the NFC East. I said that I said there could be a 4-win team that wins this division. There's an article on ESPN about how a 4-12 team could win the division. So, I want to thank ESPN for, having, what is it called? ESP? So ESPN has ESP. They read my mind, and we're on the same page with this. Dallas, I got them winning this game. I mean, how could I not? I don't think Andy Dalton is your starter, but he's playing Washington, so if you could play 2 quarterbacks and you picked them up, why not? If you got a ton of people injured and on bye week, why not? Because it's this game. But, he's a quarterback, too, on the mid-range, I would say, lower end, potentially. Ezekiel Elliott, you got to play him. Amari Cooper is worth the play as well. I mean, Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb are wide receivers 3s. I think Amari Cooper's a wide receiver low-end 1, in my opinion. Dalton Schultz in this matchup could be good for you. If you have 2 tight ends, he's worth playing as your second. On Washington's side, you just gave the Giants their first win of the season, 20-19. What were you thinking? Washington I love how when I write this, because I always write the team's nicknames, so I wrote Cowboys at football team. Get a name, Washington. Football team is not good enough. Do you know why? Because there's 32 football teams in the NFL. You're basically calling yourself everybody else. You're basically saying there's nothing special about you. And this season, there has been nothing to write home about. You are a basic football team. You are a middle of the road, lower end of the road football team. You are a team that maybe could beat Syracuse right now. But besides that, I'm not sold on Washington. Get a name, figure yourself out, find an identity, because you don't have it at quarterback, you don't have it at running back, you don't have it at wide receiver, except for maybe Terry McLaurin. You don't have it at tight end. You don't have it, Washington. Dallas by 1,000,000. I'm going with the Cowboys in this game. I don't think it'll be a crazy score, but 30-13 isn't outside the realm of possibility. With that being said, Mike and I will take a step aside for a fast break. I need to gather my thoughts and speak to Jesus because I'm very much annoyed that I have to call them the football team. Come up with a name, Washington. How about this? This is what the NFL should do. If they don't come up with a name by a certain point, the NFL comes up with it for you. Or, how about this? The fans get to pick. Well, no, we can't do that because if the fans picked it, they wouldn't be nice. So the reality of it all is, and you got to be nice, fans, okay? We can all joke around, but you got to be nice, got to play nice. So I am going with Dallas in this game. It's an easy choice. The fantasy value is on Dallas' side. There's really no fantasy value outside of Terry McLaurin as a flex on Washington's side. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll come back right after this with more from the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. We thank you so much for being here inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on WakeUpCallDT.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT. Proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, on a day like today, when it comes to fantasy football, you know that we are always under promise, over deliver. So we've hit our 2-hour mark, and we keep rocking away with Fantasy Football Talk. Mike Sofka and I are here with you every Wednesday in hour number 2, and we carry it until the end. So when we're done with talking on fantasy football, it's after we've covered every team, every game for that week. That's what we do. That is our promise and our commitment to you. So we thank you for being here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios and all their locations, 3501 James Street, 401 South Salina Street, inside of Galisanos Children's Hospital, as well as 324 West Water Street and 208 North Townsend Street. And a very special message will be coming to you about North Townsend Street and Wake Up Call that'll be coming up today. We're making an official announcement. So some cool stuff coming up there for you. You can get the pumpkin spice chai DT special. I get mine with almond milk. You can get yours however you'd like it by going to any one of their locations, as well as ordering it mobily and going there and just picking it up and having it ready. So mobile orders as well as walk-up orders to each of the Cafe Kubal locations, and the DT special pumpkin spice chai available to you any one of those locations. So, and the mobile cafe that'll come to you, and local delivery, free of delivery charge for those of you in Onondaga County. Thanks to Cafe Kubal for everything that you're doing to make it easier and help us to, have a little thing that makes us smile, give us a little pep in our step. We appreciate you so very much, especially during these last few months. And make sure you support CNY, folks. And support them by going to the Wildcat, which brings you the Fantasy Football Power Hour. Mike and I are fully into the Fantasy Football Power Hour here with you. And the next game on our docket here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is coming up to you. And that game that we have to talk about that is rocking next here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in our discussion, Mr. Sofka, is the game that is Green Bay at Houston. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, both teams coming off a loss, and I think in Green Bay's case, the defensive front from Tampa just got to him. They rattled him. He threw a pick six, only the third one of his career. I just think that defensive front made all the difference, and the defensive front led by J.J. Watt may have an impact on this game as well. There's some fantasy dollars on both sides of the ball. I got Aaron Rodgers, number 7 quarterback. Meanwhile, I have Deshaun Watson, number 5. So those guys are relatively close. Big difference in the running back, though. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, who? Well, A.J. Dillon did make an appearance here after Jamal Williams has been making some appearances, catching some balls, giving Aaron Jones some time to breathe on the sideline. But Aaron Jones, number 2 on the rankings. Jamal Williams, number 33. Can't play A.J. Dillon yet. On the other side of the ball, though, David Johnson, number 16 on the running back rankings. Here's where the money's at. Devontae Adams, number 1 wide receiver this week on the rankings. Devontae Adams. I can't really play any other receiver from Green Bay. I can't play Robert Tonyan. He's a red zone magnet. He's a touchdown king. Number 10 on the tight end rankings. And then going on the other side of the ball, receiving the ball, maybe a Darren Fells, number 20 as tight end. And Will Fuller seems to be the guy every week, week in, week out. We did have a Brandon Cooks appearance there for 1 week. Will Fuller, number 15 on the rankings. Brandon Cooks, number 31, and Randall Cobb, number 51. I think that defensive front gets to Aaron Rodgers this week. I think they create some problems for him. But I just think Green Bay's the better team here. And even though it's in Houston, I'm going to take Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay had a very uncharacteristic. And how about that? Third pick six ever. Third pick six ever in the career of Aaron Rodgers. Can you wrap your mind around that, folks? Only 3 pick sixes in his entire career. You think about teams where a quarterback lets that happen 3 times in a season. Green Bay is 4.
3 times in a game.
There you go, Jay. There you go. Green Bay is 4-1. They're 4-1, folks. So don't get nervous. Don't get scared. It's going to be okay. I know some people see a loss like this. They go, "Oh my God, Tom Brady's back, and Aaron Rodgers is washed up." Yeah, let's pedal back a little bit here, folks. Let's pedal back. Aaron Rodgers has played in the NFL since 2005. Since 2005. And only has 3 pick sixes. He's played in 186 regular season games. Fantastic. And almost 50,000 passing yards. Incredible. 377 touchdowns to 86 interceptions. Word up to him. Also, he's been sacked 455 times since 2005. Syracuse's offensive line has allowed that in the first 5 weeks. So, we're here. I'm sorry. I had to. I'm just frustrated. I'm frustrated. Green Bay at... I shouldn't be this frustrated on my birthday. Green Bay at Houston. And for me, Aaron Rodgers is worth the play. Aaron Jones is worth the play. Devontae Adams is worth the play. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who's taken over at number 2, is worth a flex. Robert Tonyan, low-end 1, high-end 2. He's playing Houston, and they're not that good. I like Deshaun Watson on the other side of it, and Will Fuller the 5th. I'm not a fan of Brandon Cooks, and I said, you have a good week, that's great. You have 2 good weeks, okay. You have to have, you have 3, now we're talking about consistency. Jordan Akins, he is questionable with a concussion. He's finally risen to number 1 on the depth chart, which I'm very happy about. I covered him when he was at UCF. Got a lot of respect for him. I don't think there's anybody, fantasy-wise, though, that you can play at the tight end position for Houston. So the value lies in Will Fuller and Deshaun Watson, and that's it. I got Green Bay in this game as well. Little bounce-back game for Aaron Rodgers. He's not washed up. He's not going anywhere, folks. No need to panic or worry. And at the end of the day, Green Bay will always have a name on their football team. The next one up is Seattle at Arizona. Who's going to win in the Battle of the Nest?
Yeah, I like this game a lot. There's a lot of talent on the field. I really wouldn't have thought that Seattle would be 5-0 at this point. I thought they have some holes, and they still do, but, hats off to Pete Carroll for making those things happen in Seattle. This game's in Arizona, and you got to like Kyler Murray. I like Kyler Murray a lot. I think Kyler Murray's the number 1 quarterback this week on the rankings, and why not? He's got the number 2 wide receiver on the rankings in DeAndre Hopkins. What a find for them. What a coup. What a great situation for them. And look, on the running back situation, a lot of people were fed up with Kenyon Drake early in the season. Looks like Chase Edmonds is going to be the guy. Yeah, Chase Edmonds is going to be the guy. People actually dropped Kenyon Drake and picked up Chase Edmonds, and then Kenyon Drake goes out and has a solid game. This is going to be a struggle. This is going to be a committee situation. This is going to be a type thing where, well, it's a committee. I got Kenyon Drake out-touching Chase Edmonds 22-32 on the rankings. 22 for Kenyon Drake, 32 for Chase Edmonds. Dan Arnold, I don't know if I can play this cat. I don't even know if I can play any other receivers for Arizona. Who I can play, though, is on Seattle. Seattle's got some solid money across the board, and this is where you're going to make it with Russell Wilson, number 4 quarterback this week. Chris Carson, number 12 running back. Wide receiver, they got 2 of the best. DK Metcalf, number 9 on the rankings, and Tyler Lockett, number 12. Greg Olsen may show up in the end zone. You got to look out for Will Dissly, though. But I got Greg Olsen, number 21 on the tight end rankings. This is going to be a good game. Sorry, Seattle. I think this is where the line ends for you. I think you're going to be 5-1. I know Seattle's favored in this one on the road. I'm taking Arizona.
Yeah, this is an awesome game. And, I don't think that anybody could have anticipated Arizona. I mean, we thought they would be good, but to look the way that they've looked, and granted, they've beaten the Cowboys recently without Dak Prescott, and they beat the Jets as they should, and they beat Washington, but they also beat the 49ers in San Fran. They lost to the Panthers by 10, which says something about Teddy Bridgewater, and I give him a lot of credit. That's why I think he'll be okay. And they lost to the Lions 26-23. Seattle 5-0 has defeated the Falcons as they should. They defeated the Patriots in a shootout 35-30. They defeated the Cowboys in a shootout with Dak Prescott 38-31. They defeated the Dolphins on the road 31-23, not as convincing as you want, and the Vikings 27-26. That Vikings game I circle and I go, okay, Mike could have a point here with thinking that Seattle's road of staying undefeated is going to end in this game. But before I get to my pick, let me get to my thoughts on fantasy football. Seattle first. Russell Wilson. Man, we missed him when he was off this bye week, didn't we? There were people like, has he been off for like 7 weeks? I mean, people were gone, people were sad. They didn't know what to do. Russell Wilson's back. Everything's okay. We're going to be all right. Chris Carson is worth the play. Tyler Lockett, never been sold on him. He's caught my attention this year. Respect to you. I am fully locked in on Lockett. DK Metcalf as well. I like him in the matchup. And that's what I would have to say on Seattle's side. Not really sold on the tight ends. On the side of Arizona, I would tell you, obviously, Kyler Murray, who's done a great job. Kenyon Drake, who has found life again. DeAndre Hopkins. Wow, didn't we tell you about that lopsided trade that made no sense? One of those things that you just know isn't going to work out for one team and probably is going to work out for the other? Yeah, that's DeAndre. So, shout out to DeAndre. Christian Kirk, he's worth a flex. He scored recently here coming into this game. So, I like all those players in the matchup. Mike, you got Arizona in this. I think Big Russ is going to figure it out. This is a really tough game to choose, but I'm going to lean on the side of Seattle on the road. Kansas City at Denver. What do you got for this one?
Yeah, I'll make it easy. I'll make it real easy. If you have KC players, play them. If you have Denver players, don't. I mean, so you can't get any easier than that. Patrick Mahomes, number 2 quarterback on the rankings. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, number 14. He goes down a notch or two because I think that Patrick Mahomes is going to do those extensions, passing the ball to everybody else. And don't forget, Le'Veon Bell is now back in. They're going to try to get him going right away. Now, I'm not saying Le'Veon Bell is going to usurp, you like that word, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but I think that Le'Veon Bell being number 46 on my ranking should say a lot about the announcement of him and them trying to, get him involved. Look, the guy who's always involved is Travis Kelce, number 2 on the tight end rankings. Tyreek Hill always involved, number 10. I can't really start any other receivers. Looks like Sammy Watkins is dinged up. You may see appearances by Mecole Hardman, Demarcus Robinson, as we did last week, but I can't really start any of those guys. Going over on the other side of the ball for Denver again, all these guys are in the 20s and 30s. I'm not really looking to start any of these guys, but Noah Fant's supposed to be back from injury. He's number 14 on the tight end rankings. I think KC wins this one in a laugher.
Yeah, I don't see. The Raiders came to play, but I don't see Denver doing that in this matchup. I don't see Kansas City losing. I think, they got a big win over Buffalo very recently here, and on a shorter week for them. I think they just keep rocking and rolling, and it's almost like people forgot that they lost to the Raiders because they just are going to keep moving on from here, get back on the winning side, start a new streak, do what they got to do. Shout out to the Raiders for what they did in that game, and hopefully that pays off for them in the long run, and it's not just one of those proud moments on a season that didn't go their way. Pat Mahomes is worth the play. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Le'Veon Bell. I can't believe that these two guys are on the same team. All of a sudden, I'm getting excited about Le'Veon again after I was very underwhelmed by what he did to Pittsburgh and how he treated that whole situation, how he acted, how he was in the divisional game against Jacksonville, and some alleged things that happened before the game, and, what he did with the Jets. But the Jets are awful. They're a dumpster fire. So I like Le'Veon Bell as a flex for you. If you snuck in and picked him up, good for you. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, all worth the play in this matchup. Denver on the other side. Mike said it. Maybe you could play a Phillip Lindsay, but I temper your expectations. Jerry Jeudy's been put to second string to Tim Patrick, who's the first string guy right now. Jeudy, I still like him as a flex wide receiver, a wide receiver 3, but the value's in Kansas City, and the victory is with Kansas City as well. San Francisco, Mr. Sofka, playing at the Patriots. If you looked at this game in the past, you would say, oh, wow, Garoppolo versus Brady. This could be like, a Super Bowl type of feel to it. It doesn't feel that way with San Fran right now. And New England, we know they'll make the playoffs because it's Bill Belichick, but at the same time, they haven't looked that pretty either. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, well, San Fran shocked L.A. last week, and New England got shocked by Denver, the team we were just talking about as being so bad. So that's the NFL for you on any given Sunday, any given game. Somebody can beat you. Somebody can have your number. Let me ask you a question. Who's one of the best coaches in the league? Bill Belichick. who studies more than anybody else? I know it's not a competition. I know everybody studies a lot, but I think it's Bill Belichick. Who knows Jimmy Garoppolo better than Kyle Shanahan? Probably Bill Belichick. So he's going to dial up some defense to get at Garoppolo's defense. Let me get into it here. San Fran, you got the talented players on your team. The number one guy is the number one tight end right now, George Kittle, number one on my ranking. Everybody else on San Fran, I can't start these cats. I can't start a Raheem Mostert. He's injured. Jerick McKinnon may or may not play. Jermichael Hasty, the Yeoman's effort coming off the practice squad, looked like the guy. He's going to be a talent to be reckoned with years to come, but not yet. He's in the 40s on my ranking. Jimmy Garoppolo in the 20s on my ranking. On the other side of the ball, New England, well, Cam Newton. Cam's going to call his number. Cam likes him some Cam. Cam's going to do what he has to do to help control this game, to keep some of the speedsters from San Fran off the field from being a one-hit wonder this week. But I can't start anybody else. Maybe a Julian Edelman, number 35 on my rankings. Maybe a Damian Harris, number 35. And James White, number 26. He's going to catch a lot of passes. But it's all committee guys. It's all role players. It's all guys that could all be great, but collectively they're a good team. Both these teams are good teams. I think the difference goes to coaching here, and I'm going to take one team got shocked last week. The other team did the shocking. It's going to be flipped this week. I'm going to step out, and I'm going to take New England.
I believe in exactly what you said. The one team that shocked last week, San Fran, it's going to flip and be New England this week. I agree with that completely. From being like, wow, we got the Rams, to, wow, we just lost to the Patriots without Tom Brady. Jimmy G, I think, is worth a play as I still think he's a quarterback one for you. He's just a lower-end one for me this week. I don't like the situation at running back for San Francisco. You know that I don't lean on Jerick McKinnon. They may have to try to run some trick plays with Deebo Samuel, let him do some reverses and different things and whatnot. I would say that he's a flex. Brandon Ayuk is a flex as well. George Kittle's the only one to play. On the other side, like you said, and we've agreed with this, Cam loves his number. That's why he wears number one, because he's number one. So, Cam is going to go after Cam and help out Cam, in my opinion. I like Edelman and N'Keal Harry as a flex for you, wide receiver 3 this week. I'm picking the Patriots to win this game at home. I agree with you, Mike, on this. Before we get to Sunday night, we got the Jaguars, Los Jaguars, going up against the Chargers. Jacksonville is looking awful, and they're awful when they travel to the West Coast. This is a perfectly imperfect situation for them. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, Gardner Minshew hasn't been playing as well as he should. He's a middle-of-the-road quarterback right now at best. He has a lot of talent around him. There's only been one guy really playing, but I'll get to that in a second. But we talked in this same show about how bad Detroit was. Detroit waxed Jacksonville last week. I can't believe that even happened. The Chargers were on a bye, and you're right. When Jacksonville goes out to the left coast, it usually doesn't end well. I don't see it ending well this week either. There are a couple players you can play, though, from Jacksonville. One is James Robinson, the one guy who's been showing up, lunch pail kind of guy, undrafted, Illinois State, number 13 on the running back rankings. Again, Gardner Minshew, middle of the road at 16. Tyler Eifert, I can't really start him. DJ Chark, maybe number 34. Looked like Laviska Shenault was going to step up. He's number 38. Keelan Cole, number 42. So, again, a committee thing, a spot thing. Each one of these guys is going to do a little bit. Well, there are some guys that are doing a little bit, and one of those guys is Justin Herbert. He's looked really good this year so far. The rookie had to step in, and he stepped up, number 9 on the rankings, and he has a tight end for the ages, and Hunter Henry. They just keep pulling these tight ends out of thin air, don't they, there in Los Angeles? Well, we've been on Hunter Henry for quite a few years. Number 5 on the tight end rankings. Keenan Allen, number 17. Mike Williams, number 33. Justin Jackson looks like the better running back right now over Joshua Kelly. Justin Jackson, number 18 on the rankings. Joshua Kelly, number 28. They're looking to get Austin Eckler back ASAP. I don't think it's going to matter in this game. I look at the Chargers winning big time.
This is a tough one on my birthday week. I'm not really happy about it, that Jacksonville is in the place that they're in right now. Gardner Minshew, I don't expect more than, maybe like 21, 25 points for him in this matchup. It's just not working out currently. James Robinson is worth the play. DJ Chark, I think, is worth the play, but he's a wide receiver 3, low end 2 for you. Laviska Shenault is a flex guy, and Keelan Cole put together some good numbers last week in a loss. He's a flex guy for you as well, but I do like a big fan of James Robinson, undrafted out of Illinois State. On the other side of it, Justin Herbert, not a bad play for you as a quarterback 2 if you could play 2 of them. If you got a bunch of guys injured and you picked him up, not a bad play because he's playing in Jacksonville this week, and their defense has no answer to anybody. Joshua Kelly and Justin Jackson, I would look to them as flex guys, but they look to have a good day because they're playing against, again, Jacksonville's bad defense. Mike Williams, because Keenan Allen is hurt. If Keenan Allen is unable to go with his back injury, then Mike Williams is somebody to look to, and Hunter Henry as well. This pains me to say it, but I said, who you love in the comfort of your own house. It is a cardinal sin to bring that into the game itself. When you are broadcasting, you have to tell the truth based on what you really believe. So Jacksonville, please win for my birthday weekend. But I don't see it logically happening. But I hope that you do anyways. With that being said, we're going to take our final step aside of today's broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We're inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly brought to you by the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. That's where you can go to dine inside or outside, and you can also call them for curbside pickup, takeout, and delivery at 315-487-2222. That's 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, which is here with us in the Cafe Kubal studios. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. Mike and I will be back to give you Sunday and Monday Night Football right after this.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
This is Jim Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand butter chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on WakeUpCallDT.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT, where you're listening, you're watching here on Facebook Live, on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT. Hello, everybody. Fantasy Football Power Hour with that man, Mr. Mike Sofka, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. We are so happy to bring you our Sunday and Monday night to wrap up Week 7. So, with that being said, Mr. Sofka, I hand the ball off to you proudly as we have 2 more games left on the docket in my birthday special. What do you have for Tampa Bay at Las Vegas?
Yeah, Vegas coming off the bye, and the Bucks coming off the big win against Green Bay at home. They got to go West Coast. They got to go to Vegas. Got to be an ominous. It's got to be a weird feeling to be in this big, brand new facility with no fans. I don't understand how these guys can focus. I know they got the pumped-in music, but the visual around there. But, hey, these are professional athletes. That's what they get paid to do. Look, Tampa's favored in this game, and I'm questioning that a little bit. I took a deeper dive into the numbers here. Rob Gronkowski is the biggest mover on my board this week. Tight end wise, he's number 7. He comes way up. He looked like they were trying to get him even more involved in the offense, and just as well with O.J. Howard out. So Ronald Jones, though, has been doing a stellar job running the ball, number 15 on the rankings. Tom Brady, number 13 on the quarterback rankings. Mike Evans, a little slow to come back, 27 on the rankings. Chris Godwin coming back from injury as well, number 19. I look at Vegas, though. There's a little bit of money here. You just need to know where to find it. And where you can find it is on a guy we talked about last year and the year before, coming out of nowhere again, Darren Waller, number 3 on the tight end rankings. Josh Jacobs, number 10 on the running back rankings. I can't really rank a wide receiver here. I don't know who's going to show up. Half these guys are hurt. Henry Ruggs coming back from injury slow. He's good for a deep breakaway or so, but that offense runs through Josh Jacobs. That offense runs through Darren Waller, and that makes Derek Carr only number 20 on the rankings, because remember, half that production is going to Josh Jacobs. The other half is going to the tight end. The wide receivers aren't really showing up for any major production. I think the Bucs are going to be able to get pressure on Derek Carr, but I don't know if the Bucs really have it in them to beat the Raiders on the road. I know it's Tom Brady, the big lights, the prime time, all that stuff. I just have a gut feeling here about the Raiders, and that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm with you. I'm really, honestly, I'm going with the Raiders in this one, too. I think they're going to get the victory. I mean, this is a team that beat Kansas City. And no offense to Tom Brady, but, it hasn't really sold it for me yet, right? And he hasn't done enough to make me feel like, right now Tom Brady is more like, I think there's a goatee underneath that girl's mask that she's wearing on our date than I actually think it is what I think it is. So Tom Brady, it's not as pretty, right? It's a little more beast than it is beauty, and so I think Las Vegas is going to get it, because if they can beat Pat Mahomes, I think that they can take down Tom Brady in this game. So I'm going to go with them on that. I know Tom Brady's got all the rings and yada yada yada, but I'm talking about Tom Brady now. I'm talking about the Tom Brady we see today. I'm not talking about the Tom Brady that we've seen for the last decade and this and that. I'm talking about the one that we see right now. So I'm going to lean on the side of Vegas as well, and I'm going to pick Vegas to win this game. I also like the fact that they're at home. Tom Brady in this matchup is a quarterback 2, low-end 1 in my opinion. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, worth the play. Gronk, worth the play. Another guy, I'm going to put him on the bench, and then he wakes up. So, hi Gronk, how are you? Thanks that you came to play football. So I would put him out there with this. Ronald Jones, he's a low-end running back 2. He had a nice game against Green Bay, but I think the Raiders will have a better answer. I like Josh Jacobs in this game. How about this? For John Gruden being a quarterback collector, there's like nobody on the roster behind Derek Carr. It's like, hey, Derek, I hope you can do it because we've cleaned house. But Josh Jacobs is worth the play. Henry Ruggs III I like as well. Hunter Renfrow as an emergency flex could give you a little bit of a little pep in your step this week. And Darren Waller, I'd put him out there for you at tight end. With that being said, we got our final game of the week, Mr. Sofka. And that is the Chi-Town Bears going to L.A. to face off against the Rams. The Rams are reeling from a loss that they just took from San Francisco in a game that we thought that the Rams would be able to put together a lot more, and they did not put together much of anything in that loss. Losing that game, and I watched that game, losing that primetime game 24-16. It was closer at the end, but not a pretty game for the Los Angeles Rams. And then on the other side of things, we have the Chicago Bears And the Chi-Town Bears right now are 5-1. We've seen this before, folks. We've seen them pick it up and then drop it. Let's see. Hopefully this year they can pick it up and hold on to it. This time around, they've only lost to the Colts 19-11. They just won at the Panthers 23-16. The Bears are known for winning close games this season. What happens in this one?
Yeah, the Bears got lucky last week, and it reminds me of a little mantra that we have here because, in years past, playing in fantasy pools, playing in fantasy football, playing in football pools, I got a nickname LMA, luckiest man alive, because I would win frequently at these things, and I enjoyed it because I approached it like a job. I approached it like a business. I had a business-like mentality, and that's the mentality the Bears have. They're about their business. Nick Foles is a leader of men. He's able to get things done. He's able to get first downs. He's able to get wins, and that's what you want. That's the production you want from your quarterback. Chicago's putting themselves in a position to be lucky because, as we know, luck is labor under correct knowledge. Luck, L-U-C-K. You put yourself in a position to be lucky. With that being said, I don't know if I can play Nick Foles. He's going to be good for the game, but he may not be good for my fantasy team. He's number 24 on the fantasy rankings for quarterbacks this week. David Montgomery is where that offense lives and breathes. He's number 11. And just as it is David Montgomery, it's Allen Robinson. He's been having a heck of a year, number 6 wide receiver. I don't know I can start any other wide receiver. I can start Jimmy Graham, especially in a touchdown-only league, number 13 on the tight end rankings. Going over to the Rams, though, the Rams got shocked last week. I'd like to see them bounce back. I'd like to see a good game here. Jared Goff, number 19 on the rankings. Chicago's got a great defense. So some of these Rams players, they were tempered last week. They're tempered down even more this week. There are some hidden gems here, though. I think it's going to be more of a committee situation with Darrell Henderson and Malcolm Brown, but Darrell Henderson's going to get the upper hand there, number 27 on my rankings this week. And wide receiver, Robert Woods, 21, Cooper Kupp, 22. I can't really start any of these other guys, although Josh Reynolds or Van Jefferson could show up. Tyler Higbee and Gerald Everett, same thing. They're sharing it. They're a committee-type situation. One shows out one week, one shows out the next. Tyler Higbee, number 19. Gerald Everett, 29. The L.A. Rams are going to have the home field advantage. I do think L.A. is LMA. They're the luckiest men alive right now. I don't think they're as good as their record shows. They find ways to win a game, but I don't think they're going to find a way to win this one. I'm going to take the Rams at home.
Yeah, this game is a very, very interesting one because I think it's gonna either potentially save the Rams season or it's going to make the Bears look even more like people saying, is this team for real? Is this a real Bears team that's going to bear down and really affect some positive change here as we move forward? So let's go to Chicago's side first of it for me as far as fantasy value. Nick Foles in this game I would stay away from. David Montgomery, I do in this matchup. I think David could do some things as a flex. Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, So that's how I feel about them. I think their wide receiver, Allen Robinson, a 2. Anthony in this game, also a 2, probably a 3. Darnell Mooney, shout out to him. Darnell Mooney coming from Tulane that I cover, round 5 pick, 173 overall in this year's draft. Darnell Mooney has risen to number 2 on the depth chart. So I'm not really sold on Chicago offensively. I think you should play their defense. I think you should give them a shot. I think you should play the Rams defense too, to be completely honest with you. And on the other side of it, for the Rams, I would say Darrell Henderson finally woke up. I told you about him well in advance. I'm happy to see him doing what he does. Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods are wide receiver 2s. And in this game, I do think the Rams have more fantasy value and big play opportunity. However, I'm going with Chicago on the road. I believe Chicago shows that they are indeed real and that people are going to have to start paying attention to those Bears. With that being said, Mr. Mike Sofka here with us on the broadcast, hanging out inside of these beautiful, wonderful Cafe Kubal studios, inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. Mr. Sofka, as always, I appreciate you. I thank you. And if I could spend my birthday on the air with anybody, I'm happy that you got to be a part of it with me.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Dan. Hey, just a reminder, check out the Facebook group, Winning Fantasy Football. Check out my website, Hall of Fame Fantasy Football. And again, happy birthday, Dan. It was wonderful.
Thank you, brother. I'll talk with you soon.
All right, bye.
Take care. That coming from Mr. Mike Sofka here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora doing his thing and appreciating him so very much. I want to thank you for being a part of the show today, folks. I want to thank you for hanging out with us inside of the Cafe Kubal studios for Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We've had a fantastic show. Those of you on Facebook saw 2 videos. Those of you on MixLR and on WakeUpCallDT.com, you heard it all the way through. You can obviously go back and look at these as they will be added this week to the archives. You can get to the archives by going to any one of these beautiful places. For audio, Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, YouTube, iTunes, or Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podbean, TuneIn, and on and on and on. And, of course, you can go to YouTube as well for the video versions of these shows. Proudly presented by Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt Wildcat Sports Pub, K9 Camp Dog Daycare, K9 Campground Dog Boarding, Avicoli's, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Honda City of Liverpool, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn, and MomPa's.com. Use my promo code DT20, get 20% off. Trapper's Pizza Pub on Avicoli's at myavicoli's.com, AVICOLLIS.com. You will get 10% off by using AVS10. And the Millhouse Market, our beverage eye of choice, besides the DT Special Pumpkin Spice Chai that I love so very much. I also want to give a shout-out to Body Armor, Reign, Monster Energy, and Coca-Cola. Thank you to my fantastic guests and friends, Julian Wiggum for the Midweek Blitz, Mike Sofka for the Fantasy Football Power Hour. Thank you to you for everything that you've done. And as a broadcaster who gets paid to speak for a living, I love to tell you that I have the words for this moment, but I don't. I am rendered speechless by the amount of love and compassion and kindness and support. I am incredibly thankful for every single kind word and, more importantly, kind person in my life. I send you my love to my listeners, to my fans, my support. I know it's so weird for me to say fans because I don't think of myself that way, but to my listeners, my supporters, to my readers, my viewers, people that come out to my show, to the high schools, to West Jenny and CNS and Liverpool and Baldwinsville and CBA and ESM and so on and so forth, to all the companies that I work with that I mentioned, to all of my friends and my family, to my friends that have become my family, to all of my nieces and nephews and their parents, to an incredible life that I've been able to have for 34 years. I know the 35th year is going to be the best one yet. I know it. I will make it so. And I, more than anything, am so incredibly thankful to God. I am so happy that no matter how many things I've been faced with, God, I have never lost faith in you. And I've never let anybody take it away from me. So I am so, and they never will. So I love you so much. I am so happy. People that listen and watch the show, you know that you are free to believe in whatever you want to believe in, and I would never change that. I just ask that you respect what I believe in, and if you don't, I'm still going to believe in it. So I welcome with open arms the fact that you have welcomed me with open arms to talk about my faith openly, because I think we all should be able to talk about who we are openly without judgment or disdain or hatred. So my prayer for this year as I embark on 35 is, that I continue to affect this world in a positive way, and that I can see this world change and grow and blossom for the better as we move forward here. I want so much better for the world that we live in. I'm so grateful for all the blessings that I have. I am so incredibly thankful for every single one of you. And I hope that you have a tremendous day, a tremendous week. I hope you enjoy my birthday just as much as I do. And, I wish nothing but health, safety, happiness, and, that all of your dreams come true in your life. On my birthday, instead of just saying, where are the gifts at? I want to thank God for the ones that I already have, and I hope that God blesses you as much as he has blessed me. Because if that happens, then you know what it's like to get down on your knees every single day and not even have the words to tell God thank you. You know, if I had to thank God for every blessing I have, I'd be talking to God all day long, which I do. So, I love you, God. To my grandpas, to Mordu and Cinnamon and Shady, Sunny, Magic, and Daredevil, all my pets, to Lily here on Earth, to my mom, to my dad, to my adopted pop, to my pop here on Earth, Bill, to Pop Miller and Pop Cavino, to G-Mama and Gammy, to my friend Rob in heaven, my friend Dustin in heaven, my friend Sarah in heaven, who came to visit recently. I love you so much. And to my friend Jay in heaven, and to all my friends and family here on Earth, thank you. I really thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. I respect you. You are incredible. And I am so happy that I cry so many more happy tears and sad ones. And I pray that that always be the case for me and for you. Have a great day, folks. God bless you. God bless. No stress. Do your best. You know where to find me. And I'm so happy that you have. Be good.